President Muhammadu Buhari was in Borno State today, where he told the troops fighting insurgency that they should not give the enemies any breathing space. And yet another school abduction today, this time in Kebbi State, where gunmen suspected to be bandits stormed a federal government college and abducted a yet-to-be-a-certain number of students and 4 teachers. The gunmen also killed a police officer during the attack. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Seun Okinbaloye in Lagos. Let's kick off tonight with the story of the suspension of a member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Shaban Sharada. His suspension by his word was affirmed by the All Progressives Congress APC in Kano Municipal Local Government. Honorable Sharada is the member representing Kano Municipal Federal Constituency. In a letter which copies were circulated to the governor of the state and security agencies revealed that the APC said it has suspended the lawmaker for 1 year for allegedly insulting Governor Abdullah Ganduje and other APC chieftains, an act the party says that was creating chaos and turmoil in Kano State. The letter of suspension was signed by the chairman and secretary of the party in municipal local government area, Alhaji Sani Abubakar Mafata and Kamilu Saidu Bala, respectively. Sad news today, and yet again, the abduction of some students from their school. This time is in Kebbi State, where government suspected to be bandits today stormed Federal Government College, Birnin Yari in Kebbi State, and abducted a yet-to-be-a-certain number of students and 4 teachers. The government also killed a police officer during the attack. That incident was happening around the time when President Muhammadu Buhari visited Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, on a 1-day working visit. He arrived to a warm welcome by students who lined the streets, after which he made his way into the parade ground where the troops of Operation Hedin Kai were waiting to welcome him. President, in raising the morale of the troops, said they should not give the enemies any breathing space. The president also encouraged them to strengthen interagency cooperation. He assured them of sustained investment in high-caliber military hardware to cater for both the short and long-term requirements, which will be deployed to the theater of operations soon. In reference to the IDPs, President Muhammadu Buhari said concerted efforts are being made to fast-track reconstruction and development programs in the affected communities in the Northeast region, which will enhance the resettlement of displaced persons as well as restoration of popular community life as they return to their homes. Just about a week ago, President Buhari was in Lagos. Today, the president is in Maiduguri, where the theater and the center of insurgency war in the country. The big question is, what does this visit mean to the insurgency war the nation is confronted with? And what happens to the morale of the troops, which the president, you can see how he related to them. Perhaps some of the criticisms that have come into some quarters for the president to reach out. In about 2 weeks now, the president has visited 2 states. Well, is it a new style of the president now? Well, I'll allow my guest tonight to analyze for you what some of these means, the body language, the visitation, and some of the words of encouragement, what it means to the insecurity situation in the country. I'm being joined by a very experienced military officer, a retired general, General Henry Ayola. Thank you so much, General, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
And from Maiduguri is a federal lawmaker representing Borno State and the Senate Committee Chair on the Army, Senator Ali Ndume. Thank you so much, Senator, for joining us tonight. Let's bring in the conversation with General.
Good evening, viewers.
Thank you, Senator. General, I don't know when you were in service, when you were controlling troops on the field. Have you had an experience where the CNC visited you? Have you had that kind of experience?
No, not at all. The highest I got was the Minister of Defense visiting us. Oh, okay, I had the Senate President once, and then the Minister of Defense.
So what does this kind of visitation mean for the troops? This is not the first time the president is visiting, but when you have in a theater of war and you have the CNC relating to injured soldiers, relating to families of deceased soldiers, what does this mean?
Oh, this means a whole lot. Firstly, talking about the morale of the troops is a major booster for that. And when we look at it from the sequence and the series of events that have been happening in recent time, the peak, we seem to have come to a point when it looks like all hell is broken loose on Nigeria. So what the president has done has brought about a turning point in the entire scenario. A turning point in the sense that it's going to be for improved morale of the troops. It's going to send a strong signal to the insurgents themselves that, look, it's no longer business as usual. There is a new deal, and the president is championing it and is leading it. And when you put it side by side with the recent interview of the president, followed very closely with this visit, I mean, it tells you the kind of concurrent activities that are coming out from the presidency. And I think it's great kudos to our president.
We'll try to get some insight because there are others not so good news coming. Some parts of the country in Ogun State where there are kidnap of Chinese rail workers. In another part of the country where, well, this part is good because the troop neutralized terrorists. But just a moment, because before you give us the technical details of what this means and what we should be expecting and doing, let me get to Senator. He was one of those who welcomed the president and who also saw him off when he visited Maiduguri. Give us a sense of what happened today. You're one of those who have clamored that the military are really lacking in firepower and in the hardware that is necessary to defeat the enemy. But when he said to them today, do not give the enemies breathing space, what kind of body language did you perceive or see amongst the troops?
Well, these troops are ever ready because they are on ground. They are even managing with the little they have and in the bad situation. But now we have been crying out a long time that our military is underfunded and they don't have the equipment. They don't have the necessary wherewithal to execute the war. And since January, President agreed that he is going to, turn around and do listen more to us and do what is needful. First, he changed the service chiefs. Unfortunately, we lost the chief of army staff, and then he replaced him with somebody who has the hands-on experience. In fact, he was the theater commander here before he was appointed, Major General Farouk Yahaya. And you know that the president promised to bring before the National Assembly a supplementary budget, which is majority of it is going to go into acquiring the necessary military hardware that is required. And he also gave the go-ahead to increase the number. And then he capped it today by coming to visit the troops, and they are aware of the good news, but then they have heard from the horse's mouth when he addressed them at the theater headquarters. And he commiserated with those who lost their life and then sympathized and visited, as you can see, those that are wounded and are going through treatment. And I was, by the side, able to talk to them, and I myself as the chairman committee on army. And most of the troops are saying, look, we are looking forward to getting better and going back to finish this war. And the language some of them were using was very interesting. You say we should go and finish with these bastards. I'm looking forward to getting well and go and finish with them. And that was very encouraging, particularly to the army. And besides, our politically, the president has given hope to Nigerians, first by speaking out, two now by visiting Lagos and coming to Maiduguri, which is considered. And let me add that the president went around, I was tired, for 6 hours. He came in 10 o'clock and we were going around to various projects until 4 o'clock this evening before he left. So for those of people who are saying the president is sick and all that, and we went through the four corners of Maiduguri, First, we started in Jimtilo, where the university is. Then we went to Memalari Barak, which is at the other end. From there, we went to Muna. Muna is outside Maiduguri, and maybe you have heard their story. From there, we came back to Jidari, which is also on the way to Molai. And he ended up going back to the airport again. It took us 6 hours going around, and that is very encouraging. From the interview he did with Arise TV, from the visits that he did to Lagos, and from now, I think the opposition now will go back and sit down to look at what else are they going to say.
I would like you to also tell us, because you are on the ground, you represent the people there, some of the stories that have been reported that we hear from the attacks in the northeast region. And when you say the president moved around today, it does speak, because some of the visuals that we see also are large numbers of people welcoming him. Does it give a sense that Maiduguri is experiencing some kind of a new wave of security, or things are relatively safe in that area, in that state?
Yes, Shegun, that's the word. Let me even say, I live in Abuja and also live in Maiduguri. Once I come to Maiduguri, once I'm inside Maiduguri, I feel safer than Abuja, because somebody can knock at your door, knock down your door with a gun. Or in Maiduguri, I don't think I'm completely of that. It is outside Maiduguri where the insurgents are marooding around, and they attacked intermittently. And that is normally normal with insurgents. That's why they are even called insurgents, the terrorists. They do hit and run, look at soft targets, and that is what we find ourselves now. And that's why we're encouraging the federal government to say, okay, there are the little of them remaining, just get rid of it. But let me add that in every society, you can't wipe out criminality completely at all. Even in America and other developed countries, we hear of another mad person taking a gun and start shooting people before they shoot him down. You can hear school shooting in America is common. You can hear that in UK, Germany, and all that. But our own, that we have a known terrorist and the army is fighting them, I think with this new development, new budget, very soon things will get better for all of us. And let me add that you see those tons and thousands of people that came out to receive Mr. President. It's out of anxiety, because the president, he's a very likable person, as you know, the masses. And today, because of what he has done or what the federal government is doing in Borno State to support the state government, who is working very hard, was a big anxiety to us. Because the federal government has done some credible things, especially the approval by Mr. President to build 10,000 houses for the displaced persons, for the resettlement of them. And within the span of, I think, 1.5 years now, they have built 4,000 within Maiduguri. Others are being built across the affected local government. Today, we had the good news, which we had before, but from the horse's mouth, that the federal government has directed NNPC in conjunction with a company to build a 50 megawatt power plant, a gas power plant in Maiduguri. The president has approved, to the establishment of Federal Polytechnic in Mongono, which is far in one of the epicenter of Boko Haram. Most of them have been displaced, but that is to give them the impression, and a couple of other things. The federal government is helping the state also in making sure that the road from Maiduguri to Kano is completed. The railway from Maiduguri to Port Harcourt, that's a cheering news that the president confirmed.
Okay, Senator, we're due for a break. But when we come back, we'll hear from the general, because some of these efforts, it does mean something. What does it mean for insecurity in Nigeria and the battle? The more money that Nigeria is expecting, what does this also mean? And how can we utilize them? Plus the new responsibility for the new man, the Chief of Army Staff. We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. You know that insecurity is a major problem in the country. Well, it does look like when there is an effort, it gets our attention right here, and we look at some of those issues you perhaps are not looking at, and we get people in the mix of things to give a perspective and take an informed decision as a citizen. So tonight, President Muhammadu Buhari was in Maiduguri. He visited the troops, visited injured soldiers, and he gave a warning that do not give a breathing space to the enemies. What does that mean? A former military officer, General Henry Ayola, is here in our Lagos studio. And from Maiduguri is a federal lawmaker representing Borno State, the Senate Committee Chair on the Army, Senator Ali Ndume. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. General, give us a sense of that word. Do not give a breathing space to the enemy. I mean, this is coming from also a former general, the CNC. And perhaps the senator is one of those who have said there is not enough equipment for the military to fight. And now we are hearing the supplementary budget, more money for the military. Give us a sense of what all of this mean.
Thank you very much. Well, there are a whole list of implications of this statement from the Commander-in-Chief himself. Number one, like I said at the beginning, it marks a turning point, a phase change in the entire operation. The entire operation, that's the Operation Hardin Kai. When you look at it, that in the military, we usually say, don't just tell them, show them. Now, first, that the soldiers are able to see their commander-in-chief. It increases their morale, it boosts their morale. The commanders themselves, from the top to the bottom, to the least, to the section commander, their confidence will rise, knowing that, look, they are not alone in this effort to get this job done. Now, they have also listened to him. He had made some promises in the sense of they will have the equipment, some of the equipment will be coming in soon, which, of course, these are some things they must have been hearing before now. But now they are hearing it from the horse's mouth. And so they're encouraged, and they know, oh, there's hope. Okay? Now, you also look at it from the point of view that when the commander-in-chief speaks, it's a directive. It's not exhortatory. It's not just an advice. It's a command.
It's not a mere policy statement.
Yeah, it's not an advice. It's a directive. And at that grand strategic level, it means he's telling the theater commander, look, get this job done in the fastest time, as soon as possible.
But when they don't have what it takes to fight, what is the implication?
No, well, in this case now, they've gotten a firm promise, as it were. First, the promise of more equipment coming in. Secondly, the fact that there's going to be supplementary budget to back that up. I mean, you can't get it better than that. I think it's enough assurance for them to take the words of the CNC for it and put in their best. Now, when the commander-in-chief says that, what he's saying, in essence, to the commanders, they will distill it. They will do a mission analysis. And they will come up with this serial kind of operation where they will sequence their operations to actually give no breathing space to the adversary, to the enemy. Okay, and they know how to do that. They know the kind of, operation that they will pile up. They will be cascaded in a way that before the enemy recovers from the last one, a next one is coming on top of it to make sure it does not regain the stability. They know how to do that. And now they have confidence to do that. And of course, they are sure that they'll be able to get what they need to do that. Well, how soon those equipment will come in will be a matter of another discussion. Now, it also means that looking at the new chief, who was the immediate past theater commander, of course, he has all the information he needs. He has the experience. So whoever has taken over from him knows that he has the ears of the new chief as somebody who knows exactly what he's going through, not somebody he has to tell some story. And that also helps, to shorten the response time between commanders at all levels when you know that the last person, what the Chinese call the pecking order, the uppermost hand is one hand that knows what the lower hands are feeling and knows how best and how daring the things that they need are to them.
All right.
Okay.
Because I'd like you to quickly touch on the death of Shekau. The senator is saying that there seems to be some peace in Maiduguri, and because both the terrorists are still operating around that area. If you can quickly do that, because I'd like you to touch on the kind of other battles the military are involved in. The banditry and the kidnapping. There's another kidnapping, Kebbi. But quickly, Shekau's death, ISWAP getting upper hand. What do you make of it as a general?
Oh, well, I've had the opportunity to talk on this before. It's actually not quite a better situation for us. But now, what the president has done has helped to up the game for our troops. Because when you understand ISWAP, you know they have better troops, better equipment. They have more international support being tied to ISIS. In fact, they have escalated the internationalization of this challenge, as it were. But thank God that this kind of initiative from the CNC will help to fill that gap and to embolden our troops the more. That even though they have perhaps a tougher adversary to face now, they are up to the task. Their morale will be highly boosted. And then, of course, the confidence that we always say it in the military that sometimes when soldiers see generals, falling victim of certain things, it tells them that nobody is spared. And that increases their morale. They are willing to go. In this setting, where with the president coming himself, and not just this one singular event, when you put all in the last 3 weeks event, they come into Lagos, the interview with the RISE, and with this, it tells you there is a new mood, there is a new, charting of the course to tackle these security challenges.
Quickly tell us, this banditry and this attitude of kidnapping students, the one in Kebbi today, the Federal Government College, how can we stop this spate of kidnapping of students from their schools?
Yeah, you can see the bandits are taking advantage of the fact that there are too many concurrent security challenges all happening at the same time. And because of that, they know it's very difficult for the same authority to pay attention to insurgents, pay attention to bandits, pay attention to kidnappers, pay attention to the challenges between herdsmen and farmers. So the array of challenges coming at the same time is certainly something to pay attention to. But one way to look at it is there's what we call concurrent activities, where every agency is made to tackle areas of these challenges based on their core competencies. And so that while the military is facing the insurgency, and of course some of the other operations they are already engaged in, internal security operations, then we can get the other agencies, touch them up, help them to be able to face this other lighter one that may not necessarily need the military. Maybe they put in, usually dealing with security issues, you do it in incremental ways, in kind of, you project power according to the need. You start from the lowest and to the highest. Usually if the police is going to deal with an issue, they bring out the normal police, the conventional police. When it goes beyond them, then they know they bring out the mobile police. If you go beyond them, they have special forces, special SWAT, like they change, SARS to. So those kind of escalation of the force to be applied will also come to play, and that will help.
Senator, let me come to you. You are on the ground, and the question I asked the general here, as relating to the Shekau, his death, ISWAP, what are you hearing on the ground? The local engagement of the locals in Boko Haram and this international dimension, what exactly can you tell us from what is happening on the ground?
Well, let me say that I'm really impressed by the apt capture of the situation on ground that the General Henry gave out. Having said that, the issue of Shekau and the rival group ISWAP, the general has already described their strengths. They are very deadly. They are more sophisticated. They have a little international connection, and they have accesses to military armaments and the like. But then the other side of them is that they don't kill civilians indiscriminately like the Boko Haram. And in fact, that was what ignited the fight between the ISWAP and the Shekau group. Now the Shekau group has been virtually eliminated. It means that our Nigerian troops are going to face what they know specifically. what was frustrating them most in the indiscriminate killing of civilians and other soft targets, destruction of public properties by the Boko Haram. But now that the ISWAP is saying we are just going after the military or the armed forces or the security agencies. Our security agencies are up to the task and ready for them. They have engaged themselves several times these days, and they have suffered serious casualty. Even day before yesterday, they had an engagement in around Firgi, and they had engagement in other places, and most of them, the Nigerian soldiers, as you know, their morale is now up with this development in terms of funding their operations, and the military hardware is arriving. So on ground, we are feeling more comfortable, and the Nigerian troops are ready. All we are saying is that we should now walk the talk, and that is by accelerating the release of the funds and time and the procurement of the necessary hardware that is needed.
All right.
We don't have time. The army are having the numbers now, and if we have that, then we'll be able to not only take care of the Boko Haram or side in the northeast, but also to address the issue, as the general said. If we have good training of police, they can handle our schools. And most of the target now is school. So since you know the next target, you make sure that the schools are safe.
All right, Senator.
What happens to the Safe School Initiative? There is money for it. The government should find out and then use this fund to make sure that the schools are safe.
Senator Ali Ndume, Senate Chair on Army, thank you so much for your time tonight. And General Ayola, Henry Ayola, you want to...
Can I just add one thing before? One great advantage on our side right now is the fact that I see the service chiefs really working together. You see, remember they changed the operation from Lafia Dole to Hedinkai. Yeah. Hedinkai means cooperation. It means they recognizes the need for jointness in the operation, and that will go a whole long way to improve the operation on our side.
General, we need to see more of you because your insights are very, very informative and educative. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
For your time tonight. And that's our show for today, everyone. And thanks for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. Bye-bye.